Hello, thank you for joining me for today's video. My name is Tracy Held. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne in Australia. This is the card that we're going to make today. It has that fun fold, the products that we're going to be using, the Honeybee Home Stamp Set, the Honeybee Blossoms dies. I'm using the largest of the layering circles die, so it's the largest scalloped and straight circle. I'm using the Hive 3D embossing folder, which is also part of this suite. And we're using this piece of the Heart and Home Designer Series paper. These are the measurements that you're going to need to make this card. Let's get started. We've got our regular size card base. And I'm going to score that at 5.25 millimeters. Now, I don't really like working in those 0.5 mils. It's very little, so between the 2 and the 3 millimeter. And we're scoring at 10.5. If you're working in Imperial, you're going to score at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4 inches. Fold and burnish those scores. A very little bit of stamping on this card. Don't you like this sentiment? Best of luck. I think that's just a really nice sentiment to use for a whole lot of different things. And I'm going to put this little bee flying just above it. Aren't bees supposed to be lucky? That all goes together. And that can get stuck into the card straight away. And we can stick the DSP onto those front flaps. So if my card's folded up, it's going onto that piece and then that piece where it opens out. Now I've cut out these 3 little floral pieces from my dies. Those were cut with those 3 dies. And those are going to get stuck directly onto my pale papaya circle. Don't worry about it going over the edge there, because we'll just trim those pieces off. Now I'm going to run that circle through my hive embossing folder. So that gives us the effect that it looks like everything's all together and that that paper wasn't actually stuck on top, that it's somehow part of the whole thing. And we're going to stick that circle onto our basic grey scallop circle. Okay, be generous with the glue because it does have that embossed background. So you want to give it a fair amount of glue that it's going to stick and sit nice and flat. Now we're going to put this on here with some dimensionals. Now, we only want the dimensionals on that half. So just remember, we flipped it over and I'm almost at the end of the sheet of dimensionals, but I use right up to the edges. And just be careful where you put these because you don't want it to be going over the edge that it's going to stick the card flat or closed. There we go, my dimensionals are behind. And I don't know if you've ever tied a bow with a fork. This is my favorite way of tying little bows. So you do need a fork that has 4 prongs. And then you're going to just wrap the bow around. Take it around and through that middle prong, which is why it has to have 4 prongs, otherwise you're landing up with lopsided loops. And just tie it in a knot. So this works really well with your very thin ribbon or your twine, but I find that with the slightly thicker ribbon, although you wouldn't say that this is very thick ribbon, this is your 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch ribbon, doing it on the fork gives you a really nice shaped little bow. And we can just cut those edges at an angle. Pop it on with a glue dot. And there's our card. All done. I hope that you've enjoyed this card. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and you'll be informed every time I post a new one. Until the next time, happy crafting.